Okay, so this time we will talk about the socio-emotional development of middle childhood, entitled Expanding Social Horizons. Kasi for this period, this stage, children are now trying to expand, no? Yung bang nag-aano na sila, nag-explore, no? Lumalawak yung kanilang social relationship, hindi lang sa family, hindi lang sa loob ng tahanan, kundi maging sa labas, no, ng tahanan, sa school, sa mga kapitbahay, and churches, markets, and many more. So let's take a look on the following slides. So we are social beings, no? As people, we need to socialize, to interact with other people as well. So ano nga ba ang socialization? This is how we teach children the values, roles, and behaviors of their culture. This is the major goal of all people. If you could remember your theories of personality, there are many theories who are in favor of socialization, like Adler, no? He emphasized the importance of social interest, no? Now we need to have this oneness with the community, to be with people, to belong with people, in order for us to have an individuality, no? A personality, a mature individual personality. Kasi hindi natin ma-develop yung ating individuality kung hindi natin kaya rin na makipag-interact o makipag-socialize outside of ourselves. Family relationships. Okay, let's talk about the relationship inside the family in the period of middle childhood. Sinasabi natin na ang family is the basic unit of the society, right? So, the family is also a system. Yan. So, in a system, view of families, parents, and children influence each other. This interacting family unit is also influenced by other forces outside of the family. So, if sinasabi natin na ang family is the basic unit, so therefore, dito nag-start yung pag-build ng society. So, merong dalawang taong nagmahalan, naging mag-asawa, and then nagkaanak, and then yun na, nakabuo na sila ng isang pamilya. So, ang isang pamilya ay kinocompose ng father, mother, son, daughter, no? Pero in other families, pwedeng son lang, pwedeng daughter lang, pwedeng mas madami, no? And then pwedeng may mga tinatawag tayo extended family, no? Kasama yung grandparents, yung mga cousins, auntie and uncles, or pwede rin namang tinatawag nating step families or blended families, no? So, ang family as a system ay isang mahalagang unit, no, sa ating lipunan. So, yung pagpapalaki, no, yung parenting, yung relationship inside the family will greatly influence the development of the child. Yan. And then dun sa family, sa loob ng family, so, bawat isa doon ay nakaka-affect sa child, no? Yung father, interaction ni father sa child, yung interaction ni father kay mother, may epekto rin yun sa child, no? Interaction ng mga siblings towards each other, or interaction ng siblings doon sa kanilang magulang. Yan. And then outside the family, meron din mga forces that influence, no, the child inside the family. And those are the neighborhood, yan, yung work ng parents or ng other siblings, yung school, and then yung mga religious organizations. So lahat 'yon nag-interplay, no, mga forces sila yung mga puwersa na talaga namang merong contribution doon sa development ng isang bata. Now, let's talk about the dimensions of parenting, no? Sa Tagalog, parenting means pagmamagulang, no? Paano ba tayo pinapalaki ng ating mga magulang? Ano ba yung mga elemento sa pagmamagulang? So, sabi dito, we have warmth and then control. So, ang pagpe-parent, no, ang parenting ay merong component na tinatawag nating warmth o yung pagiging affectionate, no, yung pagiging maalalahanin, mapagmahal, no, at control o pagdidisiplina. Yan. So, equals parenting style. So, kapag itong dalawa na to ay mas mataas or mas mababa sa bawat isa, then merong kaakibat na parenting style. Okay? So, tingnan natin kung ano-ano ba mga parenting style. Okay? So, dito pinapakita natin yung parang model or diagram, no? Yung sa parental control and parental involvement. No? Involvement means warmth also. Yan. So, pareho lang. So, kung gaano ba ka-involved, no, yung parent towards the child. Yan. So, yun nga, kapag high, mataas ang control, yung discipline, and then high, then naman yung involvement o yung warmth, then authoritative, no? So, parehong, kumbaga, balance. However, kapag naman low ang control, no, wala masyadong discipline, pero yun nga, bigay ka naman ng bigay, masyadong mataas yung warmth, then permissive or indulgent. Yan. And then, kapag high yung control, no, kumbaga, mataas yung disiplina, and then mababa naman yung warmth, no? Hindi mo masyadong pinapakita yung pagmamahal at affection, then authoritarian. And then kapag parehong mababa, wala na ngang control, wala ding involvement or warmth, then uninvolved or neglectful parenting. Okay? So there are also what we call parental behavior. So, dito, sinasabi na punishment works best, no, when administered directly, not hours later, no, hindi yung mamaya lagot ka sa akin. Yan. So, nawala na yung essence of time, no, or urgency na, na connected dun sa kanyang bad behavior. So, yung punishment na ibibigay mo, hindi na siya connected, no, nawawala na yung, yung connection niya. Kasi lumipas na, no, yung time. An undesired behavior always leads to punishment, not usually or occasionally. So, in short, dapat consistent. No, hindi yung ngayon, parurusahan mo dahil ginawa niya yun. Tapos sa susunod na gawin niya, hindi mo na siya parurusahan, di ba? Kaya yun yung nangyayari eh. Halimbawa sa school, di ba, yung sa guard. Halimbawa, nagsuot ka ng bawal and then hindi ka nasita one time, tapos sa susunod masisita ka. So, hindi consistent yung punishment. So, kaya mo inuulit-ulit din yung behavior. Accompanied by an explanation. So, punishment must be accompanied by an explanation. Kumaga, why? Bakit bawal to? Bakit masama to? 'Di ba? Bakit mo ako pinalo? Yan. Anong kasalanan, anong dahilan, ganyan. So, dapat may explanation. Yan. Isa rin yan sa mga dahilan kung bakit minsan ay nagagalit tayo pag we are being punished, no? Kasi hindi natin alam ano bang mali, saan ako mali, ganyan. So, dapat merong explanation. The child has a warm, affectionate relationship with person administering the punishment. Ayan. So, ito sa family, totoo to na dapat ay kung sino yung person or parent na you're most close with, so siya dapat yung mag-administer ng punishment. Okay? So, yan. Reasons for avoiding spanking are similar harsh punishments. So, when adults punish a child by yelling, screaming, or spanking, they are presenting children with out-of-control models for handling stressful situations. So, nagagaya nila yon. So, kapag pala may stressful na situation, ganito lang gagawin ko, no? Sigaw ako, ganyan, or mamamalo ako, magdadabog ako, di ba? I'll be aggressive, ganyan. So, nakukuha nila yon, na nagagaya nila yon. So, they may imitate those aggressive and out-of-control behavior by their parents. Yan. Punishment can instill fear, rage, or avoidance, di ba? Kasi lalo na kung hindi mo na-explain, no, para saan yung palo, bakit siya pinalo. Kasi nga, instead na ma-realize niya na mali pala yung nagawa niya, na oo, mali yun, magagalit siya, matatakot siya doon sa tao na namalong sa kanya, no? Kumbaga wala doon sa ginawa niya, sa behavior niya, kundi nakafocus na doon sa person who administered the punishment. Punishment tells children what not to do rather than what to do. So, yun. Kaya hindi rin maganda yung punishment kasi hindi nila nalalaman kung ano ba dapat, ano ba yung correct behavior. So, kasi pag punishment kasi ang focus ay sa what not to do. No, ito bawal to, di ba? Yan. So, sa violation kagad. Yan. And punishment can also be abusive. Yan. Lalo na kapag sobra, no, yung parang pagmamaltrato na yung dating, yan. Kaya yung iba, no, this is a very controversial, issue, no, yung, okay pa ba yung corporal punishment sa parenting? Yan, kasi it can be abusive, no. Okay siya, yun nga lang dapat in moderation, then yun nga, sabi nga, i-explain mo, no, why, and then, dapat directly, not hours later. Kumbaga, may mga elements din naman, no, na nakakabuti rin naman ang kaunting punishment. Yan. Pero yun nga, anumang sobra, masama. Okay, now let's go to the relationship of the husband and wife or the parents, no? Because the influences of the marital system has always, no, greatly affect the children's development. Kasi nga system sila eh. So yung relationship ng parents as husband and wife, meron din siyang influence dun sa development ng child inside the family. So when parents are constantly in conflict, 'di ba, yung laging nag-aaway, laging nagsasagutan, laging may argumento, children and adolescents often become anxious, withdrawn, and aggressive, and they are more prone to chronic diseases. Parenting is a team sport, but not all parents play well together because they may disagree in child-rearing goals or parenting methods. Because our parents came from different families also. So they have different values, they have different beliefs, no? Nagsama sila, magkaibang tao sila, they are both strangers to each other. Yun nga lang, sa pagmamagulang, kailangan team sila. Kailangan jive yung kanilang mga parenting style, no? Kaya minsan nakakaapekto talaga yun sa bata, sa mga bata kapag magkaiba ang kanilang style. No, yung isa namamalo, yung isa ayaw. So, dun pala mag-aaway na sila, maguguluhan yung bata. Sino bang susundin? Ayan. So, dapat merong team, no? Team sport ang pagmamagulang. Ayan. And then parenting is also influenced by the characteristics of children themselves, di ba? Kaya minsan bilang anak, masasabi mo no na parang may favorite, no? Bakit siya pwede, ako hindi? Kasi nga, pwede rin na yung characteristic mo as a child ay meron siyang kumbaga yun yung signal dun sa magulang, paano ko ba tatratuhin yung anak ko na to? Knowing na ito yung edad niya, ito yung temperament niya, ito yung ugali niya, ito yung personality niya. So, nakadepende rin naman, no? Hindi porke mas parang pabor yung isa, kaya ganun, no? Kundi, kasi nga may mga karakteristik yung child na yon na parang kailangan mong bigyan ng focus. Usually, ganun eh. Halimbawa, yung kung sino yung mahina, di ba? Sino yung weak, sakitin, or sino yung medyo, kumbaga, slow, ganyan. So, sila yung mas bibigyan ng focus. Unlike yung sibling or yung child na strong, no? May strong personality, independent, ganyan. So, yun yung medyo less yung focus. So, ganun siya. I don't know, kasi isa lang naman yung ano ko. So, I cannot truly accurately say na wala talagang favorite. But in terms of reading these researches and other textbook, it means to say that the characteristic of the child influence the parenting style, no? Or the treatment of the parents toward the children. Okay? Yan. Working parents. Ayan. Ito, ano na to ngayon? Very common in our days now. No? Tinatawag din silang mga dual earners families, di ba? Wherein both mother and father are working together. No? Dati kasi, meron tayong stereotyping na father lang yung nagtatrabaho and then si mother sa bahay lang siya, homemaker, ganyan, housekeeper, housewife. Yan. Pero ngayon, um, dahil nga humihirap na yung ating yung buhay, di ba, kailangan doble kayod, ayan, tapos lumalaki yung family mo, maraming anak, ganyan. So, lumalaki din yung gastusin, di ba, sa bahay. Kaya naiisipan na rin na magtrabaho ng mga magulang. So, maternal employment, no, ito yung ano din parang isa rin sa mga issue, no, kung bakit minsan may mga bata na apektado rin yung kanilang development, lalo na kung nagtatrabaho yung supposed to be na talagang dapat ay caregiver nila, which is the mother. Ayan, so nakakalimutan na yung kanyang obligation, responsibility in child rearing. Ayan. So, yun. Mhm. And then, sabi nga ni Anne Crotter, 2006, described how parents bring their experiences at work into their homes. So, yung isa pa yun, no? Yung bang kapag stress, burnout sa trabaho, pagdating sa bahay, pag-uwi sa bahay, so meron din siya effect, no? Yung displacement na tinatawag natin. Na wala namang kinalaman yung bata doon sa trabaho niya, pero affected yung bata. Yan. So, dahil nga pagod na siya, si nanay o si tatay, hindi na siya nakakapag-bonding sa mga anak niya, at napapagalitan niya pa ng walang dahilan. So, yun yung mga parang influences, no? And a consistent finding is that children, lalo na yung mga babae, of working mothers, engage in less gender stereotyping and have more egalitarian views of gender than children whose mothers are not employed outside the home. So yan, affected din no, yung kanilang beliefs no, sa pag-gender stereotype. Yan. So yung mga bata daw na merong working mother, no, they have these views of egalitarian, no. Pag sinabi egalitarian, equal yung men and women pagdating sa society, no, na paglaki ko ako din, no, magtatrabaho din ako, yan. Tapos yun nga yung view nila sa gender is equality, more on equality, no, that they see the importance of women working, ayan. Kesa doon sa mga bata na ang nanay nila ay housewife. Yan. So, makikita mo yon no, yung view na yon. Tulad ko, I myself have a mother who is also working since I have kumbaga mula nung nagkaisip ako, oo, nakita ko na nagtatrabaho yung both parents ko. My dad used to work abroad, lagi siyang wala, and my mom, siya yung parang office girl, ayan. So yun, lumaki ako na I have equal, din, views on gender, no? Hindi ako masyadong, hindi ako masyadong, yung bang parang, ah, pabor sa lalaki or pabor sa babae. Kumbaga, pareho silang merong contribution sa ating society. Ayan. Okay, another issue is this gay and lesbian parents. So, ito medyo, ano na rin siya, no? Pinag-uusapan na rin. And there are many researches na din that says na effective din naman na maging parents ang gay and lesbian. Ayan. In addition, gays and lesbians are increasingly choosing parenthood through donor insemination or adoption. So, hindi naman porke sila ay pareho ng sex ay wala na silang right to have a child, no, or to raise children. So, marami namang ways, no? We have the donor insemination, yan. And pwede silang mag-adopt, no, mag-ampon, ayan. I don't know if you know, sino ba to? Yung si Joel Cruz, no? A famous, I don't know if he is gay, but I think he is gay. Di ba meron siyang anak, no? Dalawa nga yata yun eh. Ang ginawa niya ay, donor, no, hindi siya yung nag-inseminate, no? Meron siyang hinire na surrogate mother. Yan, para ma-conceive yung child niya. So, yun, ano niya talaga yun, sperm niya yun, yun nga lang, ah, nilagay sa surrogate mother. And then, yun na, anak niya. No, anak niya talaga. Yan. And then, children conceived through new reproductive technologies such as in vitro fertilization. Yun. So, yun yata yun, no? In vitro fertilization are as well adjusted as their counterparts conceived by natural means. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, maaring wala naman talagang kinalaman kung ikaw ay baby through in vitro fertilization or you are conceived by natural means, no? Kumbaga pareho naman kayong nakakapag-adjust sa lipunan, sa environment na kinalakihan, no? And then children growing up in a gay or lesbian families are just as popular with their peers, and no differences are found in the adjustment and mental health of children in these families compared with children in heterosexual families. So, pareho lang din na nakakapag-adjust. Maybe because environment na ang nagpi-play, no? Nurture na the genes does not have uh, kumbaga may influence pero uh, it is the way of the parents parenting, how they parent the children, no? Yung how environment interplay with the traits of the children, di ba? Kumbaga makaka-adjust naman pareho, homosexual or heterosexual families. More positive parenting in adoptive gay father families, and fewer child externalizing problems in these families than in heterosexual families. Ayan. So, sinasabi nung study ni Golombok 2014, ano, na mas positive daw, no, yung parenting ng mga gay families, no, gay father na nag-adopt, di ba? Yan. So, yung mga bata nila, yung mga anak nila ay talagang mas, kumbaga, hindi masyadong sinisisi, no, yung kanilang family structure pagdating sa kanilang problems. Yan. Externalizing no? So, yon. And there are many other researches that you can read regarding gay and lesbian parents. Actually, ito yung mga concept, no, mga issue na medyo hindi pa masyadong nare-research. So, maganda siyang pag-aralan, no? Since we are now in the modern society, we accept and we are open, no, for these kinds of parenting nowadays. Siblings. The birth of a sibling can be stressful for children, particularly when they are still young and when parents ignore their needs. Yan, totoo naman yan, di ba? Kasi kapag, halimbawa, you are only child, no? Tapos biglang may dadating na bago, no? Sabi nga ni Alfred Adler, meron tayong nararamdaman na feelings of dethronement. Yung para bang nawala na sa'yo yung trono. Parang hindi na ikaw yung favorite, no? May bago na. Yan. So, normal naman siya talaga na maramdaman. So, yan. And then, siblings get along better when they are of the same sex, believe that parents treat them similarly, enter adolescence, and have parents who get along well. So, totoo rin to, no, na ang magkasundo sa mga magkakapatid ay yung magkapareho ng sex o gender. Kung babae, kasundo niya yung babae niyang kapatid. Kapag lalaki, yung lalaki naman niyang kapatid. Yan. And they also get along when they enter adolescence. Totoo din yan, no? I myself, I have a sister, no, much younger than me, for 6 years, yung gap namin. Nung maliliit pa kami, hindi kami magkasundo, lagi kami nag-aaway. And then, nung nag-adolescent na kami, siguro college na ako and then high school siya, dun lang kami nagkasundo. Dun lang kami parang nag-share na ng mga similar, ano namin, likes, dislikes, yan, mga interest, 'di ba? Same na yung interest kasi nga dalaga na. Unlike before na nung mga bata pa kami, talagang hindi kami magkasundo. So, 'yon. Yes, that is also true. And have parents who get along well. Yan. So, kapag nakikita ng mga magkakapatid na yung kanilang parents ay magkasundo, hindi masyadong nag-aaway, no? Wala masyadong conflict, argument, so more likely na yung mga anak nila ay gagayahin o i-imitate nila yung mga magulang nila. Ayan. Judy Dunn, sabi ni Judy Dunn, a leading expert on sibling relationships, meron 3 karakteristik ang sibling relationship. No, yung emotional quality ng relationship. Ayan, kaya nga sabi, 'di ba, sino pa ba ang magdadamayan kundi ang magkakapatid? Ayan, so kaya sa hulit-huli, wala ka ring, kumbaga parang last resort mo talaga is your family mo, especially your siblings. Ayan. And then yung familiarity and intimacy of the relationship. Of course, 'di ba, kapag kapatid mo, okay lang na magkasama kayo sa kwarto, okay lang na mag-share kayo ng mga, damit, 'di ba, sapatos, ganyan. Although sa una, o kaya naman kung yun nga, minsan may mga pagkakataon na magagalit ka 'no, kapag nawawala yung damit mo kasi hiniram na, ganyan. So yun, isa yun sa mga pagpapakita ng intimacy sa sibling relationship. Another one is variation in sibling relationship. Okay. So, hello tayo dyan sa mga only child na walang siblings. Okay. So, kaya maganda rin na meron kang kapatid. No? It also influence your development as a person. Okay. Adopted children. Research shows that adopted children are similar to children living with biological parents in many respects, although they are more prone to some problems, such as adjusting to school and conduct disorders. However, these results depend strongly on the child's age when adopted and the quality of care prior to adoption. Ayan. So, isa rin 'to sa mga issue 'no, na tinatalakay sa middle childhood. So, yung mga adopted children ay pareho lang din naman yung kanilang adjustment pagdating sa paaralan 'no, katulad ng mga, ah, bata na biological parents nila yung kasama nila. And kahit biological parent or kahit adopted ka, possible pa rin na pareho kayong magkaroon ng conduct disorder, no, during childhood, middle childhood. Pero yun nga, sabi rin ng ibang pag-aaral, kumbaga parang mas may chance, no, mas malaki yung possibility na magkaroon ng conduct disorder or mahirapang mag-adjust sa school kapag adopted. Bakit? Kasi siguro maaring ang dahilan nito ay yung hindi nila masyadong nararamdaman yung tunay na pagmamahal kaysa doon sa tunay na magulang, di ba? O kaya naman yung pakikitungo sa kanila ng mga adopted sibling, nung sibling nila. Yan, doon sa mga adopted children. And of course, nagdidepende rin yung kanilang ugali sa edad kung kailan sila inadopt. No? Kaya nga mas maganda nga daw kung mas bata, no? Yung bang hindi pa aware, hindi pa siya conscious sa self niya, doon mo siya i-adopt. Kasi kapag develop na yung self niya, so more likely na develop na rin yung kanyang personality. So, yun, pwede niya na-adapt yun, no, sa pinagkuhanan mo sa kanyang institution or family, or pwede rin namang namana niya dun sa kanyang biological parents. Yan. Kaya mahirap na rin i-counter, no? Kasi nga buo na siya, develop na. Unlike kapag baby mo siya in-adopt or mga younger lang, mga siguro mga 1 to 3 years old, pwede mo pa siyang i-hone or i-develop to whatever you want him or her to be, 'di ba? Kumbaga parang ikaw yung magpo-provide ng environment na sa tingin mo ay makakatulong sa kanyang development as a person. And of course, yung quality of care. Ayan, mahalaga yan. Kasi kapag naramdaman naman ng adopted child na siya ay mahal, na siya ay importante doon sa pamilya, hindi siya magre-rebelde, no? Hindi siya isip na umalis doon sa kanyang kinagisnan na family because of the quality of care na naramdaman niya o na-experience niya doon sa kanyang foster family. Okay? Okay, impact of birth order. Yan. So, parents have higher expectations for firstborn children, which explains why such children are more intelligent and more likely to go to college. Later born children are more popular and more innovative. Compared with later born children, firstborn children have also been described as more adult-oriented, helpful, conforming, and self-controlled. Only children in some respects, such as intelligence, achievement, and autonomy, are better off. Only children often are achievement-oriented and display a desirable personality, especially in comparison with later borns and children from large families. Ayan. So, itong mga bagay na ito ay according sa mga different researches pagdating sa impact of birth order. Alam naman nating lahat na ang famous na theory of birth order ay yung kay Alfred Adler, no? So, siya talaga yung nag-emphasize ng birth order ay may kinalaman sa ating development ng ating personality. So, sinasabi dito sa mga researches na talaga namang, syempre, kapag firstborn ka, sa'yo unang mag-expect, no, ng mga parents natin. Kumbaga parang, syempre, ikaw yung panganay, ikaw yung aasahan, no, ng family to also provide for the needs of the family, di ba? Kaya naman, kapag ikaw yung malaking mataas na expectation sa'yo, kumbaga mas lalo mong ide-develop, no, yung intelligence mo, ayan, tapos magpupursige ka na makatapos ng pag-aaral kasi nga ikaw yung panganay, ganyan. And then yung mga later born naman, syempre ito yung mga parang baby, yun nga, yung apple of the eye of the family. So sila yung mas nagiging popular, no, and more innovative or creative, no. In my case, yun nga, since dalawa lang kami, I experience na talagang siya yung mas popular, no, sa aming mga relatives. Kapag dadalaw kami, halimbawa sa mga occasions, celebrations, siya lagi yung hinahanap, no? Yan, kasi nga siya yung bunso. Okay? And then, compared naman sa mga later born, ang firstborn ay mas adult-oriented. Kasi nga, mas nauna silang ipanganak, nauna silang magkaroon ng chance to interact with the adults. Ayan. And they are helpful, of course, because of their responsibility. And then, conforming, obedient sila. And mas self-controlled sila. And yun naman mga only children, pero hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon, no? Pwedeng sa intelligence, sa pagdating sa mga na-accomplish na, at sa freedom o autonomy or independence, mas better sila kesa sa mga firstborn and laterborn na maraming magkakapatid, no? Ayan. And then, sabi din na yung mga only children, mas ano din sila, achievement-oriented, no? Kasi nga, ang comparison nila ay hindi sa sibling, dahil wala silang sibling. So, i-compare nila ngayon ang kanilang mga sarili, ang kanilang na-achieve sa adults. Eh, sino ba yung unang adults na kasama nila? Ay, di parents nila, di ba? So, doon nila unang ah, ibabangga o i-compare yung standard ng ano ba yung achievement. Ayan. Kaya ano rin sila, no, adult-oriented din, ang mga only children. Okay? Divorce and remarriage. Divorce can harm children in a number of areas, ranging from school achievement to adjustment. The impact of divorce stems from less supervision of children following divorce, economic hardship, and conflict between parents. Okay, so dito sa Philippines, wala pa tayong divorce. What we have is annulment, no? Ano bang kaibahan ng divorce sa annulment? Pag sinabing divorce, this is a termination of marriage. So, merong nangyaring kasal, merong nangyaring pag-aasawa. Yun nga lang, tinerminate ninyo. Okay, sa annulment, you are voiding, no? You are nullifying the marriage. So, ibig sabihin, kapag null and void ang marriage, walang nangyaring kasal. Sa divorce kasi meron. Kumbaga nire-recognize siya na kasal sila dati. Pero nung tinerminate na nga, nung nag-divorce nga, nawala yung natanggal. Kumbaga na na-off yung kasal, no? Yung bang nangyari, may kasal pero tinerminate. Sa annulment, pinapatunayan doon na walang nangyaring kasal. So, in the first place, hindi ka talaga kinasal sa annulment. So, yun yung pagkakaiba ng dalawa. That's why, mas mahirap magpa-annul kesa magpa-divorce. Kumbaga, mas madali yung pag-determinate ng divorce kesa sa pagpapanal and void ng marriage. Alright? So, divorce can also lead to remarriage. Pag sinabing remarriage, pwedeng mag-asawa ulit, no? Same with annulment. Yan. Same with separation. Pero kasi sa separation, unless you are legally separated, dun lang kayo pwedeng mag-remarriage. No? But if you're not legally separated, then, at kayo ay kasal, then you cannot remarry. Diba? Pero kung kayo ay nagko-cohabiting, meaning live-in kayo, hindi kayo kinasal, pwede pa rin kayong mag-remarriage, no? Kaya nga yun yung ano natin, no, parang pine-preserve ng marriage. Kasi nga, hindi ka pwede basta-basta na magpakasal ulit dahil kasal ka pa. Okay? Kaya lang, yun nga, sa aspetong psikolohikal ng mga bata, ito ay may malaking epekto, no, sa ating mga anak. Kapag tayo ay naghiwalay, no, bilang kanilang mga magulang, kasi tayo yung tumatayong model, 'di ba, of how intimate relationship is, 'di ba? So kung ang kanilang magulang ay isang larawan ng pag-aaway, conflict, argument, ay di ito ay matatanim sa kanilang isip, 'di ba? Yan, kaya maapektuhan yung iba't ibang areas ng kanilang buhay tulad ng yung sa school nila. Yan, bababa ang grades, hindi sila makakapag-aral ng mabuti, mahirapang mag-adjust, 'di ba? And then hindi nabibigyan ng supervision ng mga magulang yung kanilang mga anak dahil nga sa pinagdadaan ng hiwalayan, um, yung yung economic, no, apektado rin, lalo na kung walang trabaho yung magulang na kung saan maiiwan yung mga bata. Yan. And then yung tinatawag nating joint custody o yung pareho magulang ay merong karapatan na mga laga doon sa mga anak, mas okay daw yun kesa sa isa lang yung may custody. Yeah, if you have watched the Korean drama, no, in the world of the married, doon talaga maganda yung pagkaka-depict, no, ng divorce and ano, hindi remarriage, no, parang divorce itself and how the child cope up with the situation. Yan, maganda yung pagkaka-portray ng character doon nung nanay, no, kung paano siya nakabangon from the divorce, and then yung anak, paano siya nag-cope up, paano siya, ano yung mga naramdaman niya kasi adolescent na yung bata doon eh, no? So parang nasa rebel age na rin siya. So somehow parang may mga times na nag-rebel siya, no, from the parents. Pero yon, maganda yung flow ng story and pinakita talaga dun on how divorce can really affect the child's development. Children in divorced families. Are children better adjusted in intact, never divorced families than in divorced families? So let's take a look on the different researches about children in divorced families. So sabi dito sa study ni Lansford 2012-2013, children in divorced families are more likely than children in non-divorced families to have academic problems, to show externalized problems, no, ito yung acting out and delinquency, and internalized problems such as anxiety and depression. Less socially responsible, have less competent intimate relationships, to drop out of school, to become sexually active at an early age, to take drugs, to associate with antisocial peers, to have low self-esteem, and to be less securely attached as young adults. So, sinasabi doon sa research ni Lansford na yung mga bata na galing, no, doon sa mga divorced families, yan, ay nagkakaroon ng mga academic problems, yan. So, pwedeng bumaba yung grades, hindi nakaka-adjust sa school, kaya nagda-drop out, no? And then, meron din silang mga tinatawag na external problems or internal problems. So, pag sinabi external,
ito yung sa panlabas, no? Yan, nag-act out, nagiging rebelde, gumagawa ng mga bagay na bawal pa, like nagiinom, nagsusugal, nagdodroga, ganyan. And then, yun namang internal problems, example niyan ay yung anxiety, depression, ayan. And then, yung depression, pwedeng kakabit din ng external problem. Halimbawa ay depressed and then nagsi-self-harm behavior. So, that is externalizing, no? And then, nagiging less socially responsible, no? So, connected din yun sa pagiging delinquent. Ayan. And many others, no? As I've mentioned. Childhood divorce was linked to an increased number of cohabiting or marital partnerships and negative partner relationships. Ayan. So, sabi dito ni Ferguson, 2014, ah, yung, ah, yung pagdi-divorce ay connected or related doon sa pagdami ng mga nagle-live-in na mga mag-asawa, no? At saka yung mga ah, relationship na hindi okay yung kanilang mga partner, no? And then parental divorce as well as child maltreatment was linked to suicide ideation in middle age. Ayan. According to Stansfield 2017. So, yun yung mga effect ng divorce sa mga children.
Should parents stay together for the sake of the children? No, dapat ba na ah, magstay, no, yung mag-asawa, na magkasama sila in spite of having marital conflicts para sa mga bata? Okay, so tingnan natin yung mga sinasabi ng mga researches. So sabi ni Cummings and others noong 2017 and Davis, Martin, and Serge Apple in 2016, yung marital conflict daw ay mayroong negative consequences para sa mga bata, no, sa isang konteksto ng marriage or divorce. So, maaring yung pag-aaway, regardless kung sila ay mag-asawa or kasal or nagsasama, or maaring hiwalay na, ay merong kinalaman, no, meron siyang influence sa sa mga bata. So, dahil nga nakikita ito ng mga bata na sila'y nag-aaway, no, may mga arguments, conflicts, verbal or physical manifestation ng kanilang conflict, ito ay merong consequence sa mga bata. Okay, sabi pa rin ni na Cummings and his colleagues, nag-propose sila ng theory na tinatawag nilang emotion security. Okay, so itong emotion security theory na ito ay meron siyang roots sa attachment theory na wherein kailangan maramdaman ng bata, di ba, sa attachment na meron siyang tiwala or trust doon sa kanyang environment, specifically doon sa kanyang primary caregiver, which are the parents. So it states that children appraise marital conflict in terms of their sense of security and safety in the family. So if nakikita nila na merong mga conflict, no, na lagi nag-aaway yung kanilang parents, maaring hindi nila ma-feel na sila ay secured emotionally, no, doon sa loob ng family. So, maladaptive marital conflict like destructive strategies, severity of arguments, no, yung kung gaano kalala yung mga argumento at saka yung mga paano sinusolve nung mag-asawa yung problema nila, no? Nung ang mga bata ay 2 years old pa lang, ay associated doon sa paglaki o pag-increase ng internalizing problems 8 years later due to an undermining of attachment security for girls, specifically for girls, while negative emotion naman aftermath of the conflict o yung unresolved lingering tension. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, okay lang sana, no? Normal naman na mag-away yung mga mag-asawa. Yun nga lang, kapag ito ay madalas or kapag ito ay malala, no, yung severity, at nakikita ng mga bata kung papaano sila mag-away or papaano nila i-resolve yung pag-aaway ay merong epekto doon sa internalizing problems ng mga bata. Pag sinabing internalizing,
Puwedeng may kinalaman ito sa pag-develop ng depression, anxiety, 'no, doon sa mga bata paglaki nila. What factors influence an individual child's vulnerability to suffering negative consequences from living in a divorced family? So ngayon, nabubuhay na siya, no, na-divorce ang kanyang parents. So ano ngayon yung mga factors na pwede pang mag-influence sa kanyang kahinaan, no, sa pagsasuffer sa mga negative consequences having a divorced family? So among the factors, according to Hetherington 2006, involved in the child's risk and vulnerability is the child's adjustment prior to the divorce. Siyempre, yung kanyang pag-adjust from having a two-parent household. Ngayon, maaring isa na lang or maaring wala siya sa custody ng both parents. As well as yung kanyang personality and temperament. Yan. course, may mga magbabago din sa kanyang personality and gender. Yan, ibig sabihin, iba kasi yung pag-take ng mga babae, no, kaysa sa mga boys. And custody situation, yon. Kumbaga, syempre, may kinalaman yung gender ng bata, may kinalaman din kung kanino siyang parent mapupunta. Halimbawa, yung batang babae, kapag siya ay nasa nanay, iba yung influence doon kaysa kung siya ay nasa tatay. So, depende siya, no? Actually sa legal ano, 'di ba, legality, kumbaga meron tayong batas na sinasabi na kapag 7 years old na, no, yung age, no, may kinalaman din siya kung kanino siya mapupunta. Pwede na sa tatay siya yung custody. Pero kapag below 7, I think sa nanay, no? And then kapag 7 above na rin, meron na rin kinalaman yung gender niya kung kanino siya mapupunta. Like for example, kung batang babae, usually sa tatay siya napupunta. Kung batang lalaki naman, sa nanay siya napupunta. So parang may issue din ang ganun. Okay? So earlier studies reported that gender differences in response to divorce, with divorce being more negative for boys than girls in mother custody families. Diba? Kumbaga mas ano daw, mas negative daw yung aftermath, no, ng divorce pagdating sa mga boys kaysa sa girls kapag ang boys ay nasa mother custody. Okay? I don't know if you have watched the yung The World of the Married na isang K-drama din. Um, the protagonist there is of course the mother, no, na yung na nakipag-divorce, and then yung kanyang anak na I think 16 years old yata yon na boy ay syempre sa kanya na punta, no, sa kanya yung custody, nilaban niya yun eh. So yon, that is a good example of what this research mean to say. And some of the inconsistency may be due to the increase in father custody. Yan, kasi nga dumadami na rin naman na yung father ang may custody doon sa bata. Joint custody, no? Ito yung mas maganda sana na custody. Kasi nga, kumbaga pwede sa tatay, pwede sa nanay, kumbaga may option naman yung anak, no? Parang scheduling, proper scheduling lang kung kanino siya sa araw na ito. Kaya lang, yung iba kasi medyo skeptical sa joint custody, no? Parang, yun nga, kumbaga, parang nagkakaroon ng confusion dun sa part ng bata kapag palipat-lipat siya ng custody. And increased involvement of non-custodial fathers. Yan, ito naman, ayaw naman, no? Talagang sa nanay yung custody, especially in their son's lives. Ayan. Joint custody works best for children when the parents can get along with each other. Yan, kung okay yung mag-asawa. Diba, after na nag-divorce, okay pa rin sila, magkasundo sila, so okay yung joint custody. Kaya lang kung sila ay lagi pa rin nag-aaway at joint custody, so lagi pa rin makikita ng mga bata yung pag-aaway nila, which is unhealthy for them. Communicating with children about divorce. Okay, so here are 6 ways on how we can communicate with them, with the children, about divorce, according to Santrock. So number 1, explain the separation. It is extremely important for parents to tell the children who will take care of them and to describe the specific arrangements for seeing the other parent. So if merong custodial, no, na mangyayari after the divorce or the separation, maganda na mai-explain sa kanila kung papaano yung magiging arrangement, no? Halimbawa, from Monday to Friday, kay tatay, pag Saturday, Sunday, kay nanay. So, meron dapat explanation on the part of the parent, okay? And then, sino yung mas mag-aalaga, sino yung magte-take care sa mga needs nila. So, maganda na yun ay ma-communicate, no, sa children. Number 2, explain that the separation is not the child's fault. Okay, so kadalasan kasi biniblame ng bata yung kanyang sarili on what had happened, no? Um, Usually, tinatanong niya ang kanyang sarili kung ah, siya ba yung mali, no? Saan siya mali? Ayan, bakit nag-away, naghiwalay yung kanyang mga magulang. So, explain dapat din na this is not their fault. Okay, so parents need to repeat this statement a number of times. No? Hindi lang basta isang beses lang. Okay, and number three, explain that it may take time to feel better. Ayan. So, syempre, sino ba naman ang hindi masasaktan, no, at the expense of the divorce? No, yun ay isang situation, circumstance na hindi maganda or negative talaga siya. So, talagang negative din ang emotions na mafe-feel. It is also okay for divorced parents to share some of their emotions with children by saying something like, I'm having a hard time since the separation, just like you, but I know it's going to get better after a while. Yan, kumbaga, wag i-deny yung feelings of hurt, pain. Um, Mas maganda na makita ng bata na, si mommy at daddy pala, ganito rin ang nararamdaman. Na it's not also easy for them, no, yung nangyayari. It's very difficult, yan. So, maganda na merong sharing, no. Yan. Number four, keep the door open for further discussion. So, wag mong ika-cut, no? Halimbawa, meron siyang sasabihin, yung child mo sa'yo. Yan. So, keep the door open. Hayaan mo siya mag-share. And then, tell your children to come to you anytime they want to talk about the separation. Minsan kasi, inaano natin parang binablock, no, as parents, yung halimbawa gusto niya mag-disclose, gusto magtanong, no, or gusto just want to discuss something about the separation. So, let them be. Let them talk to you. No? Dapat open yung communication. Number five, provide as much continuity as possible. Children need parents who care enough not only to give them warmth and nurturance, but also to set reasonable limits. Yan. So, meron pa rin tayong mga disciplinary actions, no? Hindi po pwedeng okay na yan, no, na magiging maluwag na tayo masyado. So, dapat nandun pa din, continuous pa rin yung ating warmth and discipline, warmth and control at the same time. Number six, provide support for your children and yourself. So, parents function best when the other people are available to give them support as adults and as parents. So, dapat mahalaga din, no, na merong social support coming from the whole family, pwedeng relatives, pwedeng friends outside the family na that would make them feel better, no, so that they can function at their best, magampanan pa rin nila yung kanilang obligation for their children and for the whole family. Okay, another point in the middle childhood is the child maltreatment. Ayan, so factors that contribute to child abuse include poverty, social isolation, and a culture's view on violence. So, ito yung mga factors na may kinalaman, no, sa child abuse. Yan. So, no, usually kasi kapag mahirap, no, sila yung mas prone sa child abuse, no, yung mga nasa poverty line. And of course, yung mga isolated sa society, sabihin yung mga nasa liblib na pook or nasa liblib na lugar, they are most prone also. And yung culture's view on violence, kumbaga parang tinotolerate, no, dun sa society nila or doon sa lugar nila or doon sa family na yon, no, tinotolerate nila yung violence or okay lang sa kanila yung gano'n. Yeah. Parents who abuse their children were often neglected or abused themselves and tend to be unhappy, socially unskilled individuals. So, in terms of personality, yung mga magulang daw na nag-abuse ng kanilang children, ay sila din mismo nakaranas ng abuse, no? Nung sila ay bata pa. Kaya parang history repeats itself yung nangyayari. And of course, hindi sila masaya. Of course, they are unhappy. And then, hindi na-develop no, yung kanilang social skills o yung pro-social behavior nila nung sila ay bata pa. Younger or unhealthy children are more likely to targets of abuse. Yan, isa pa yan, no? Yung mga, syempre, yung mas bata, sila yung mas prone, no, na target of abuse. And of course, yung mga bata na sakitin, no, yung unhealthy, kumbaga. Yan. Children who are abused often lag behind in cognitive and social development. So, of course, kapag ang bata ay abused, no, nakakaranas ng abuse, madali siyang ma-detect, no, especially sa school. Kapag nakikita mo na observe mo na parang nag, the child is left behind in terms of the academic, no, and the child is usually isolating himself or herself from his classmates, you can, kumbaga pwede ka mag-speculate or assume na maybe there's something wrong in the family. So, pwede mo siyang interview, counseling, ganyan. So, kasi sila talaga yung may, ibig sabihin nun, kapag sobrang tahimik o kaya mababa yung grades na nakukuha, maaring there's something wrong or there is a problem inside the family. Or it can be suspected as a child maltreatment. Okay, so ano nga ba yung iba't ibang types of child maltreatment? So we have physical abuse, no, the most obvious one, characterized by the infliction of physical injury as a result of punching, beating, kicking, biting, burning, shaking, or otherwise harming a child, o yung pananakit, no, physical na pananakit, o pambubugbog, ganyan. So the parent or other person may not have intended to hurt the child. The injury may have resulted from excessive physical punishment. So yung iba, wala namang intention talaga na saktan, pero kumbaga pinaparusahan lang. Pero yung paraan ng pagpaparusa o pagpapunish o pagdidisiplina, sabi nga nila, nagli-lead no, dun sa physical abuse. Ayan. Child neglect, isa rin ito, no, na type of maltreatment, is characterized by failure to provide for the child's basic needs. Yan. Neglect can be physical, no? Iniwan mo siya, abandonment, for example. Yung bang nilagay mo siya sa isang institution, o kaya iniwan mo siya sa relatives kasi hindi mo na siya binalikan, no? Or worse, iniwan mo siya sa kalye, no? Yan. Educational, allowing chronic truancy, for example. So, dito, para pinabayaan mo na siya, okay lang sa'yo na hindi siya pumapasok. Or emotional, no? Pwede rin itong neglect. A marked inattention to the child's needs. Ayan. So, another one is sexual abuse. Includes fondling of child's genitals, no? Yung panghihipo, intercourse, incest, rape, sodomy, exhibitionism, and commercial exploitation through prostitution or the production of pornographic materials. Ayan. So, ito medyo nagtitrending siya nowadays, no, sa ating social media. Kumbaga parang ginagamit natin yung mga ating mga anak, no, mga children to do business, no, pinibenta para sa mga pedophilic sites, no, sa mga pornographic sites. Yan, hindi ko maintindihan kung bakit may mga parents na gano'n, no? So, that is sexual abuse in a form of child maltreatment. Emotional abuse, psychological, verbal, or mental injury includes acts or omissions by parents or other caregivers that have caused or could cause serious behavioral, cognitive, or emotional problems. Ibig sabihin, yung ginagawa mong pang-aabuso ay merong epekto, no, sa kanyang pag-iisip. Kumbaga, halimbawa ay nagkaroon siya ng depression because of what you are doing to him or her, no? So that is emotional abuse. So, pwede itong combination, halimbawa, ay, kumbaga hindi siya rigid na isa lang, no, na nangyayari. Pwedeng combination, for example, physical plus emotional, no, pwedeng ganoon, or pwedeng child neglect and emotional abuse, yeah. So that could happen. So these are the types of child maltreatment. Okay, now let's go naman to peers. O peers, pag sinabing peers, these are friends, no? Or other person that are outside the family. Yan. So, ang middle childhood ay sinasabi din natin na panahon ng pag-form, di ba, ng friendship. Sabi nga ni Eric Erikson, ito yung time na yung sa ano niya, yung psychosocial development, no? Yung industry versus inferiority na kailangan nating mag-build ng friendship among others. At the same time, we need to be competitive also for us to develop our competence. Yan. So, friendship is a voluntary relationship between two people involving mutual liking. So, ibig sabihin, sa friendship, meron kayong bagay na pinagkakasunduan, no? Mutual liking. So, ages 8 to 11, mutual liking and shared activities are joined by features that are more psychological in nature, such as trust and assistance. Ayan. So, di ba kapag yung mga friends mo nung elementary, so dito nagbi-build kayo ng trust and of course, you want to have some assistance in terms of your um, classroom activities or other activities outside the school, no? Adolescence adds intimacy also. Friends now confide, no? Yung mga nagsasabihan ng problems, nagsasabihan ng mga ah, family affairs nila sa bawat isa, no, that are too personal or too private. Yan. Kasi nga, may trust na. Kaya, nagiging mas intimate na ngayon. Yan. And elementary school children generally rely on close family members as primary sources of support when they need help or bothered by something. And friends are usually similar in age, sex, race, and so on. So, kapag skilled ka sa ganitong stage, then more likely na paglaki mo, you are more socially skilled individual or socially adjusted individual. Alright, so we have two kinds of groups. We have clique and crowd. So, clique are a small group of friends who are similar in age, sex, and race, while crowd is a large group including many cliques that have similar attitudes and values. In a group, there is a group structure o yung tinatawag nating dominance hierarchy. So, parang unconsciously, inside the group, meron tayong nilalagay na parang leader or dominant figure, no? Yung bang kadalasan na sinusunod natin sa isang grupo. So, kapag, particularly sa mga boys, ang basehan nila ng paglalagay ng dominant or leader ay in terms of physical power. So, kung sino yung mas malaki ang katawan, mas matangkad, o kaya malaking bulas, sila yung usually na nagiging dominant or yung nasa dominance hierarchy. Yan. However, kapag older children and adolescents, based na sa skills, no, yung pagpili kung sino yung pinaka parang leader doon sa dominance hierarchy or sa group structure. Okay, peer pressure. Peer pressure is neither totally powerful nor totally evil. In fact, groups influence individuals primarily in areas where standards of behavior are unclear, such as tastes in music or clothing, or concerning drinking, drug use, and sex. So, hindi naman daw bad influence, no, ang tinatawag nating peer pressure. Usually, kaya may peer pressure ay dahil hindi alam ng isang grupo kung ano ba yung standards of behavior in a particular aspect. Like for example, sa music, hindi nila alam kung ano ba ang tamang taste, ano ba yung standard, ano ba yung magandang music o genre na dapat sundin, kaya nagkakaroon ng peer pressure. no? Or in terms of clothing, ganun din. And in terms of drinking, drug use, and sex. So, usually, hindi naman lahat ng bagay ay masama ang peer pressure. Puwede rin naman kasing gamitin ito sa pag-aaral. Halimbawa ay kasama ka sa barkada na pala-aral. So ikaw, mape-pressure ka din na mag-aral mabuti, maging magaling sa ginagawa mo because sa palagay mo, yun ay standard, yun yung sinusunod na norms doon sa isang grupo na yun. So, ganun yung peer pressure. So, hindi naman siya totally evil or totally powerful. Okay, popularity and rejection, para masukat ang kung gaano ka kapopular nung ikaw ay bata pa, nasa middle childhood, meron tayong panukat na tinatawag nating sociometric status. Ito ay dinidescribe dito kung gaano ka ka-like or dislike ng iyong peer group. Okay? So, yung mga popular are liked by many classmates. No? So, ito yung talagang walang may ayaw sa kanya. So, gusto siya ng lahat. Okay? Kaya popular siya. Rejected, dislike naman. Kabaligtaran ni popular, marami namang may ayaw sa kanya. Okay? And then, controversial, may mga may gusto sa kanya at meron din namang may sobrang ayaw sa kanya. So, kaya controversial. Kumbaga sa social media, may mga likers ka, no, yung mga fans mo. At the same time, you have also bashers. So, parang ganun yung nangyayari, no, kapag ikaw ay influencer sa social media, nagiging controversial ka kapag yun nga, yung pinag-uusapan ka na, no, hindi lang ng mga likers mo, pati ng mga bashers mo. Kumbaga, naging popular ka also because of your bashers. Kaya, controversial. Yan. So, sa middle childhood, syempre, lalo na nung panahon ko, wala pa namang social media noon. So, may mga ganyan din, no? Yung mga controversial, ito yung sinasabi nating usap-usapan, no? Yung topic ng mga chismisan sa kantin. Ayan. Sila yung controversial na peers. Mm-mm. And then, we also have the average. Yan. The average, like and dislike by different classmates. Kumbaga, sakto lang. Hindi naman siya masyadong pinag-uusapan, pero kilala naman siya ng marami. Marami din may gusto sa kanya. At marami din naman may ayaw, pero hindi ganun katindi, katulad ng controversial. To the point na pag-uusapan siya. Neglected, ayan, ito ignored. Ignored by classmates. So, hindi sila gusto, hindi rin sila dislike. So, wala lang, no? Hindi sila napapansin. Maaring hindi sila kilala, natapos na yung buong school year, hindi sila kilala o hindi alam yung pangalan nila. Ayan, so, as for me, I can say na siguro I'm an average student before. Yan, like and dislike. Alam ko may ayaw din at meron din namang may gusto pero not to the point na naging controversial ako. Yan. So, kayo, ano ang sa inyo? Kayo ba ay popular, rejected, controversial, average, or neglected? In terms of aggression, isa rin ito sa mga issues sa middle childhood. No? Aggression is also equated to bullying. Ayan, so we have three kinds of aggression. We have the instrumental, hostile, and relational. Sa instrumental, ito yung gumagamit ng physical, no, na pamamaraan like punching someone on the face, pananampal, no? Kumbaga parang gusto mo talaga siyang saktan, no? Explicit goal. Sabihin, gusto mo talagang ipakita yung aggressiveness mo sa pamamagitan ng pananakit sa kanya physically. Yan. Sa hostile aggression naman, may galit ka pero um, uh, pailalim, no? Gusto mo siyang ipahiya o kaya gusto mo siyang ma-intimidate, yan, or i-harass, no? So medyo hindi hindi sakto, no? Hindi mo siya sasaktan directly. So parang indirectly. Yan ba, yung pinatid mo, no? Tapos sabi mo ang tanga, parang gano'n. So hostile aggression. Okay, may galit pero hindi mo directly na ipapakita sa kanya like sa instrumental aggression. Sa relational, usually sa mga babae ito, no, gumagamit sila ng paninirang puri, ganyan. Kumbaga, chinichismis nila, no, pinariringgan, pwede rin. Okay, kasi ang sinisira mo dito, sinasaktan mo siya sa pamamagitan ng ginagamit mo yung relationship ninyo para siya'y masaktan. Yan. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng relational aggression. Yan. So, dahil kayo ay magkaibigan before, or magkaibigan pa rin naman, no? Yun nga lang, ginagamit mo yun para masaktan mo siya. Okay? Yun yung paraan mo. Hindi explicit, no? Hindi mo siya sasaktan physically, kundi sa pamamagitan no, kung ano yung meron kayong relasyon, sisirain mo siya. So, in that way, masasaktan mo siya. No? You will hurt her or him. Yan, by using relational aggression. Children and their victims, many highly aggressive children end up being violent and poorly adjusted as adults. So, marami talagang mga aggressive children yung lumalaki na nadadala nila yung pagiging aggressive nila. No? They end up violent, nananakit, ganyan, and poorly adjusted. So, ibig sabihin, hindi sila makapag-adjust sa environment nila kasi nga madali silang magalit, madali silang mairita. So, in short, wala sila masyadong tao o kasama na matutuwa sa ganong klaseng ugali. So, hindi sila makakapag-adjust sa kanilang environment. So, mahirap silang pakisamahan. And then, children who are chronic victims naman ng aggression, typically either overreact, no? Limbawa ay konting bagay lang, akala nila sila ay sinasaktan na, no? Akala nila sila ay pinapahiya na, pero hindi. So, or refuse to defend themselves. Or, ito naman yung masyado namang ayaw niya pa rin i-depensa yung sarili niya, no? And he or she cannot stand up on her own, no? Hindi siya nag-assert ng alam niyang tama. Okay? So, either nag-overreact, no? Pwedeng through reflex, konting ano lang, bagay, biglang siya naman yung mananakit, no? In response to the sudden, stimulus, no? Na pwedeng hindi naman yun yung intensyon ng tao na yun, pero dahil nga siya victim dati ng aggression, madali siyang maano, no? Parang, ano yun, makanti mo lang, mapitik mo lang, parang, nag-overreact nga siya. And then, he or she will end up also a violent person in that way. Yan. So, yan yung mga nangyayari sa aggressive children and also their victims. Electronic media. So, ito rin, isa rin ito sa mga nakaka-influence sa development ng middle childhood, no? Yung kanyang exposure, hindi lang sa television, maging sa internet, no? Nowadays. So, let's take a look, no? On what are the influences of the electronic media. Television. TV programs can cause children to become more aggressive, to adopt stereotypes, and to act pro-socially. Programs designed to foster children's cognitive skills such as Sesame Street are effective. Ayan. So, of course, TV, no? Isa itong malaking media na talaga namang nakakaapekto sa ating development as children. Yan. So, dito natututo tayo ng paano maging aggressive, no? Paano mag-adapt ng stereotypes, and also to act pro-socially. Yan. By means of what we have watched in the TV, no? Lalo na yung sa mga programa, no? Kaya mahalaga yung ano yung mga children's shows tulad ng Sesame Street, no? Yung mga batibot nung araw, no? Ngayon, dahil nga nawala na rin yung isa sa mga malalaking TV network, medyo kumukonti din yung mga napapanood natin sa TV. Pero ang nauuso ngayon, ang trending ngayon ay yung ating internet, no? Yung YouTube, Netflix, ayan. And ayun, so ginagamit ang TV, ang television para makapagpalabas tayo ng mga programa na dapat ay makakapag-influence o makakapag-contribute, 'no, ng mabuti sa ating mga bata. Yan. Kaya ngayon, ang DepEd, ginamit nila ang TV at radyo para magpalaganap ng kanilang modular activities, no? Yung kanilang mga educational programs through TV. So, yon. Computers. At home, children use computers for schoolwork, to play video games, and are influenced by the contents of the games they play, and to communicate with friends via the internet. So, ito yung pinakamalaking impluwensya ngayon, no, yung computer. So, nung dumating yung technology advancement ng mga taong 2000, early 2000, ah marami nang naging pagbabago, no, in terms of technology. Pero ngayon mas na, parang napapansin ngayon natin, no, yung technology parang nagkakaroon tuloy siya ng importance, no, na dapat lahat tayo marunong gumamit ng computer kasi nga ginagamit natin ngayon ito sa mga online classes, no, synchronous man or asynchronous. Yan, samantalang dati pa naman may computer pero ngayon mas ginagamit natin siya para makapag-adjust sa new normal, 'no, na hatid sa'tin ng pandemic, ayan. So hindi lang siya kumbaga kung dati ginagamit mo lang siya as leisure activity, ngayon, mas madalas mo na siyang gamitin hindi lang sa leisure kundi pati rin sa schoolwork, 'no, pati rin sa work, 'no, as a parent. Yan, ginagamit mo siya sa mga work at home na trabaho, no, sa mga online based ah, na employment and work, no. So, yon. Kaya napakahalaga ng paggamit ng computer. Yan, na-influence din ng computer yung development ng mga bata. Yan, kasi lahat ng sobra ay masama, no? Dapat ay in moderation lang. Kaya nga nire-require lang tayo na mag-conduct ng mga synchronous classes at least 1 hour lang, no? Kaya lang yun nga hindi natin maiwasan na sumobra sa oras, no, ng paggamit ng screen, no? Kaya nga meron tayong parang yung mga experts natin nagsasuggest sila, nagre-recommend sila ng required, no, na screen time. Lalo na sa mga early childhood pa lang, no, yung mga nasa early childhood ages or preschoolers, no. Kasi nga hindi pa sila, yung development nila in terms of biological, neurological, ay hindi pa ganon ka-mature. So, it's very delicate, no, para ma-expose kagad sila sa technology. And yun nga, siguro din yung sa screen by the emission of radiation. Ayan. Although wala namang parang, it's not a fact, no, na parang meron talagang radiation effects sa mga bata, pero yun, medyo prevention, no? Prevention is better than cure. Ayan. So, computers. Okay, now we go to understanding others. So this is also the time that the children are learning how to understand other people. No, they know how to take their own perspective, no? Na tinatawag natin perspective taking. This is the social cognitive process involved in assuming the perspective of others and understanding their thoughts and feelings. So, nagkakaroon na sila ngayon ng idea kung ano ba yung perspective, no, ng ibang tao, no? Ano sa tingin mo? Yan. So, nagkakaroon na sila ng idea, no, napaprocess na ngayon ng kanilang mind yung social cognitive process, no, doon sa pag-assume ng perspective ng iba at papaano ito maiintindihan by their thoughts and feelings. Okay, in terms of describing others, during the elementary school years, ang emphasis ng mga bata ay sa concrete characteristics, yan, sa pagde-describe. Halimbawa, si Ana ay mayroong matangos na ilong, bilugang mata, matangkad, maputi. So, yun yung basis, no, sa pagde-describe ng ibang tao. Concrete characteristics. While in the late elementary school years, ini-emphasize naman yung personality traits. Like si Ana or si Joy ay mabait, maalalahanin, mapagbigay, no? Honest na tao. Yan. And then sa pagdating sa adolescence, ini-emphasize naman yung integrated picture of others. So magkasama na, no? Magkasama na yung physical o yung concrete characteristics at the same time pati yung personality traits. Okay? Isa pang aspect sa middle childhood ay itong self-esteem and self-concept. Okay, dito rin to nade-develop during this age, no? According to Eric Erikson, yung kanyang industry versus inferiority, na kung saan kailangan natin i-develop yung ating competence, at the same time ay nag-perform tayo ng friendship. Ayan. And as for the competence, kasama nitong nade-develop yung tinatawag nating self-esteem, no? O yung global evaluation of ourselves. O kaya tinatawag din itong self-worth or self-image. Pero ito nakadepende din doon sa ating self-concept o yung mga domain-specific evaluation ng ating sarili. For example, we have this academic, family, athletic, appearance, emotional, at marami pang iba na domain-specific, no, sa ating self. So, halimbawa, kung ikaw ay magaling sa academic, hindi pa rin nito masasatisfy yung pagtaas ng self-esteem kung ang ibang domain naman ng iyong pagkatao ay mababa, no? Kumbaga parang kasi nga global evaluation yung self-esteem, ibig sabihin um, kapag apektado yung isang domain ng ating self, ay apektado rin yung iba, no? Yung global evaluation mo sa sarili mo ay you are a bad person. Kahit na magaling ka naman sa ibang domain, nga lang medyo hindi ka nga lang kagalingan doon sa ibang domain. Yan. Pero ang importante dito ay yun nga, nare-recognize or ina-acknowledge natin yung mga domains na ating sarili at we try ourselves to be more appreciative of ourselves and to improve ourselves, no? Ourselves and para tumaas yung ating self-esteem. And then, according din sa mga researches, yung self-esteem and self-concept, nade-develop siya kapag merong quality parent-child interaction, no, nung bata pa. Yan. So, mahalaga yung parent-child interaction, yung quality ng home environment sa pag-build ng self-esteem. Yeah, minsan yun pa yung nakakapag-down, no, dun sa self-esteem ng bata. Kaya paglaki niya, hirap siya na maging confident sa kanyang sarili. Actually, ito yung number one na parang problem ng mga adolescent, no? Kasi nga, kumbaga yung paglipat nila from childhood to adolescent, hindi gano'n kataas, no, or hindi na-develop yung kanilang self-esteem. Just because maaring hindi maganda yung parent-child interaction or may mga domains ng kanilang sarili, specifically academic, no, na hindi nila na na-develop or na-improve nung sila ay nasa elementary. Yan. Yan. According to Bandura, here are his concepts, no, in terms of this stage, the self-efficacy and self-regulation. So dito sa stage na to ng development, nade-develop din, yung self-efficacy or yung belief that one can master a situation and produce favorable outcomes. Kasi nga dito mo ini-improve pa yung mga skills na meron ka, no, na ini-explore mo, and then dapat naniniwala ka na makakaya mo siyang gawin. And then self-regulation, dito rin yun sa stage na to, yung bang you are now having a deliberate effort to manage your behavior, emotions, and thoughts. That leads to increased social competence and achievement. Kasi nga, parang syempre, hindi ka na bata, no? Hindi ka na, uh, you're not that young anymore na para maging pabigla-bigla or impulsive in terms of your actions, no? Kailangan medyo i-regulate mo na yung galit, yung saya, lungkot, no? Halimbawa, meron kang ah, kausap, no, na medyo nakaka-offend or sarcastic yung pagkakasabi niya sa'yo. So, what will you do? No? So, you will um, distance yourself first and then think about the situation, no? Dapat ba ako mag-react agad? Dapat ba ako magalit agad? No? Kasi nga, syempre, dapat mag-iisip ka muna kung ano yung sasabihin mo before you say it kasi baka mas lalong makasakit at lalong hindi kayo magkakaintindihan kapag kayo ay nag-usap na parehong mainit ang ulo ninyo. So, ito yung time na, yun nga, nire-regulate, no, yung natututo tayo mag-self-regulate ng ating behavior, no? Hindi tayo basta-basta nananapak, nanununtok, no? And yung ating emotions, di ba? And thoughts. Yan, para maging socially competent tayo. Kasi nga, ito yung time na tayo ay, kumbaga tinuturuan kung paano makipag-interact sa ating kapwa. Ito yung time na nagpo-form tayo ng mga friendship or relationship sa ibang tao. Kaya dapat socially competent. Yan. Alright, so eto na nga yung sinasabi ko kanina. Yung kay Eric Erikson, psychosocial stage during the middle childhood is the industry versus inferiority. So, kailangan ma-resolve natin itong conflict na ito. So, when children are encouraged in their efforts to make, build, and work, whether building a model airplane, constructing a tree house, fixing a bicycle, solving an addition problem, or cooking, their sense of industry increases. And this is also the time wherein they master those skills, no? However, parents who see their children's efforts at making things as mischief or making a mess encourage children's development of a sense of inferiority. That's why connected din siya sa self-esteem, no? Na pwedeng bumaba ito just because hindi na-appreciate or hindi nare-recognize yung kanilang mga efforts, no? Pagdating sa skill building or pag-build ng kanilang competence. Yan. Right? So, this is also the time for emotional development, no? As a person, yan, sa middle childhood, number one is improve emotional understanding. So, children in elementary school develop an increased ability to understand such complex emotions as pride and shame. So, hindi from basic to complex emotion, nakakaintindi na sila, no, ng mga ganitong klaseng emosyon. Napapahiya na sila kapag sila ay pinagagalitan sa harap ng mga kaklase nila or friends nila. No, kaya medyo ingat na din tayo sa kung paano natin tratuhin yung mga bata na nasa ganitong edad. Yan. Increased understanding that more than one emotion can be experienced in a particular situation. So, nagkakaroon na ng combi or combination ng mga emotions. No? Parang you can experience or you can feel joy and sadness at the same time. No? For example, yan. Number three, increased tendency to be aware of the events leading to emotional reactions. So, a fourth grader may become aware that her sadness today is influenced by her friend moving to another town last week. So, parang naintindihan na nila ngayon na kaya ka malungkot is because may nangyari na situation or event that lead you to become sad or other kinds of emotion. Yan. Number four, ability to suppress or conceal negative emotional reactions. So as I've said before, no, dun sa previous slide, yung self-regulation. Sana yun yung motive, no, sa pag-conceal or pag-suppress. Hindi yung, iba kasi yung overly regulated naman or yung hindi mo na siya nire-recognize. Masama din yun, no? Yung kapag masyado mong sinusuppress or kinoconceal yung emotion. Yan. Pwede naman na i-regulate mo lamang. Ibig sabihin, yung sobra, medyo pabababain mo ng level. No? Halimbawa ito, a fifth grader has learned to tone down his anger better than he used to when one of his classmates irritates him. No? Kung before, bigla-bigla ka nalang mananakit, no? Maghahagis ng gamit. Ngayon, since nakakaintindi ka na ng emotions, mas to-tone down mo ngayon. Yung, medyo bababaan mo lang yung pag-express ng anger mo. Mag-iisip ka muna kung dapat ko ba itong express dito sa tao na to, dapat ba ako manakit? O pwede naman akong magalit pero hindi nananakit. Yan. So, emotional development during middle childhood is very, very important to our development towards adulthood. Okay, the use of self-initiated strategies for redirecting feelings. So middle childhood is also the time that we can be more effective, no, at cognitively managing our emotions, such as soothing ourselves after an upset. So kaya daw natin na pakalmahin yung ating mga sarili kapag tayo ay nagagalit or tayo ay irritable or na-disappoint or nalungkot, no? Kumbaga marami tayong paraan na pwedeng gawin, no? We can now redirect our feelings. For example, from being sad to being happy. We can do things that make us happy, no? During the middle childhood. Ayan, a capacity for genuine empathy. A fourth grader feels sympathy for a distressed person and experiences vicariously the sadness the distressed person is feeling. So, eto rin yung time na kaya daw nating maramdaman kung ano yung nararamdaman ng iba. Just by looking at them, observing them, no, even though that we did not experience it firsthand, pero we empathize, no, with the distressed person as if na parang gusto natin tong i-alleviate, no, mabawasan man lang yung nararamdaman sakit ng tao na yun. So that is one also of emotional development in middle childhood. Okay, so here are the Selman stages of perspective taking. So ano nga ba yung mga stages kung papaano na-develop yung ating understanding what others think, no? Yun yung perspective taking. So, nag-umpisa yan sa pagiging undifferentiated muna natin. Alam ng bata na merong iba't ibang thoughts and feelings, yung self niya at yung kausap niya, pero nako-confuse niya yun. Okay? Yung thoughts and feelings. And then, social informational, alam din niya na we differ from perspective because people have access to different information. Kumbaga, kaya ganun yung nasabi ko is kasi meron akong ibang impormasyon na pinagkuhanan. No? Iba rin yung sa'yo, kaya magkaiba tayo ng pagkakaintindi. No? Magkaiba tayo ng perspective. Unlike before na alam ng bata na magkaiba pero hindi nako-confuse siya kung bakit magkaiba. Ngayon, self-reflective, dito naman parang empathy, no? Kaya na niyang ilagay yung sarili niya doon sa another shoe. Kumbaga, na nakikita niya yung nakikita or yung perspective ng kausap niya. And dahil kaya niyang gawin yon, ine-expect niya na yung kausap niya ay kaya rin gawin yung ganoon, no? Yung self-reflection. Yan. Pangatlo, third person. Ito naman, kaya mong ilabas yung sarili mo, hindi lang doon sa inyong dalawa, no? Kasi 'di ba sa communication, ikaw at yung kausap mo. Pero sa third person, you can take the perspective outside, no? The two of you. Kumbaga, hindi yung problema, hindi yung perspective yung tinitingnan mo, kundi yung situation. Yun. So, nakikita mo yung situation ngayon, ninyong dalawa. Okay? And then sa societal naman, ito, third person pa rin, pero mas broader na. Hindi mo lang nakikita yung thoughts, feelings, tsaka yung situation, pero mas nakikita mo yung larger influence ng personal, no, yung pinanggagalingan ninyo pareho sa mga sinasabi ninyo, yung social and also yung cultural background ninyo. So, yan yung stages of perspective taking. Okay, sa recursive thinking naman, dito kaya na nung bata na ah, maisip o isipin kung ano man yung iniisip nung kanyang kausap. Okay? Thoughts that focus on what another person is thinking. He can now thinks what she thinks. Okay? He thinks that she thinks. Ibig sabihin, um, kahit hindi ka magsalita, kahit na hindi mo banggitin, ang batang nasa middle childhood ay meron ng kakayahan na um, maisip niya or maintindihan niya, no, kung ano man yung iniisip ng ibang tao as of the moment. Yan. Kumbaga parang marunong na siyang makiramdam, no, ng mga sitwasyon. Parang gano'n, recursive thinking. Okay? As for the prejudice, children are also capable of having a preconceived judgment about a certain group of people. Uh, okay, this is a view of other people, usually negative, that is based on their membership in a specific group. Like, for example, gender, ethnicity, social class, yan, and others. Okay?